Well, good morning from London. I'm delighted to be sharing with you the key headlines from the research that we recently completed on Toondah Harbour and what international experience really tells us about its potential and its prospects. So what I'll be doing over the next few minutes is really touching on three things that I think we've discovered over this last 4 months of work. Firstly, how the scale and significance of this particular opportunity stand out. Secondly, the ingredients that have helped other harbourside and waterfront redevelopment projects around the world not only to succeed in their own right, but to induce positive effects for their community and economy more widely. And then thirdly, how COVID-19 and the new cycle that it triggers brings to light new imperatives for which this project helps to put the Redlands and South East Queensland firmly back on the front foot. Let me say a word about us and the evidence base that we've used for this report. Our team at the Business of Cities, led by Professor Greg Clark and myself and based at University College London, has been providing global analysis, benchmarking and advice in Australian cities and regions now for nearly 10 years and really trying to carefully think through the future of South East Queensland's economy, identity and its urban form. So for this research, we've drawn upon that experience and our comparative work advising and analysing more than 100 cities, in fact, in across 25 countries, and added to that interviews and insights from leaders of some of the most comparable harbourside and waterfront projects around the world. Thank you to those in Hamburg, in San Diego, London, Dundee and Lisbon with whom we've spoken. Let's start with some bare facts, shall we? When we look at SEQ against other global city regions, we see a rapidly growing and diversifying region that is still below par internationally for productivity and therefore wages and living standards. It has not yet produced the variety or the calibre of its destinations to put it on the radar truly as world class, and it does not yet have a coastal and cultural identity that is truly renowned and truly magnetic. Outside of Brisbane CBD, it has relatively few signature places that truly show off that identity internationally or demonstrate the capacity to embrace that kind of high amenity mixed-use development that make the leading cities and suburbs around the world compelling, especially for younger talent around which opportunities, businesses and innovation gravitate. The trends for the Redlands also point to the need to reverse unfavourable trends in terms of demographics, job creation, lifestyle appeal, and the broad-based offer to a mix of ages, visitors, and businesses for that matter. So something is needed not only for the Redlands to achieve its own jobs and tourism ambitions, but also to show that the region is proactively embracing its coastline. A catalyst is needed that broadens the mental map of what SEQ is all about, and shows that it's on the front foot about what destinations have to offer after COVID-19. What do we mean by that? Well, of course, COVID-19 is a short-term shock to city economies, and it's a long-term disruptor of the way people in SEQ are going to work, consume, visit, and access services. People locally and internationally are going to become more picky, more discretionary about which locations they spend time in. They're going to want to know what it is about SEQ. They will want to know what is SEQ's unique story and how it will be expressed in its physical fabric and its natural character. There will be new levels of expectation on destinations not only to be healthy and secure, but to deliver a higher quality experience worth taking a trip for, and to demonstrate how a region offers variety, agility, and resilience to the challenges ahead. So in this context, it's really important that the next cycle of major redevelopment projects in SEQ are catalysts to dispel doubts, to rebuild confidence and find a path to the future that is more diversified, more adaptable to future shocks. The urban form of SEQ in the Redlands does actually have several of the ingredients to serve the more flexible needs of business and workers and residents after COVID-19, but only if it can deliver the quality at scale to make the promise of an agile hub and spoke type region really come true. So in our research, what we've done is look in depth at major projects such as Harbour City in Hamburg, Greenwich Peninsula southeast of London, South Bay near Lisbon and Chula Vista Harbour near San Diego, many others. All of these places were once underperforming locations outside the CBD that had, for very different reasons, turned their back on the water. What we've discovered is that there are many different ways that they head on the road to success and common elements that they share too. Harbour City, for example, really went for independent retail and incentivising more people to use active transport along and around the water. Greenwich Peninsula, it's really excelled at temporary pop-up uses to raise appetite and profile. Chula Vistas invested early on in the green space and the seamless visitor journey in and through the district. Dundee Harbours focused on the long-term benefits, communicating those, and developing the bold vision that could challenge old thinking. What all of them have in common is that they combine innovative real estate with consistent efforts to put the local community at the forefront and to continuously manage and experiment with the public space. And they've realised that doing it at scale is what produces the amplified effects for the local area. It's fair to say many of them started out with fewer assets and more barriers than Toondah Harbour, but over several cycles they've matured into inspiring harbour and waterfront environments. They've produced new hubs of good jobs and homes. They've helped to raise the performance of the local area relative to the rest of the region. And in doing so, they've lifted public revenues. They've really added to the range of amenities that local communities actually have access to. What we've found is that over time, those with the critical mass, the developer ambition and the patient timing have also delivered positive knock-on effects on their location's reputation and confidence. Places that were once totally off the radar are now part of the visitor and business itinerary and on the shortlists of investors and mobile talent. And what they're doing is helping to trigger a higher overall standard of development along the water and around natural habitats. They are setting benchmarks, in effect, about what the place and the wider region should look and feel like in future. And they've created a wider consciousness among landowners and developers and governments in the region that there is shared value in pushing for excellence. So our assessment, as you can see in this report, indicates that Toondah Harbour can emulate and in fact may even surpass many of the leading international examples. What makes Toondah Harbour stand out as a special opportunity is what it combines. It's pretty rare in that it combines stunning physical and natural assets on its doorstep, the development scale and ambition to create real critical mass, and that's really key, and the integration to achieve the quality, the sequencing and the stewardship that an opportunity of this magnitude deserves to reach its potential. Pretty few locations around the world can really match this. It's this mix that makes it capable of becoming a year-round destination and creating permanent uplift in footfall and amenity in the Redlands. In driving this well overdue diversification of the visitor economy in the region, I think it can give the whole area a memorable and enriching edge, not just a one-off opportunity for consumption or for visitation. And if it gets it right, Toondah Harbour can really embody what we might say is the deep DNA of the Redlands and the wider SEQ region. It can really be a game changer for a region that's now has to become more diversified and distributed if it's going to be fit for the post-COVID era. The Toondah Harbour opportunity in this new cycle, I think, really presents pretty stark choice for the Redlands. Either choose to stay in a medium productivity, high livability scenario with a lower set of population and amenity assets, or shift instead towards a high livability, high productivity future with a renewed investment base, revived status, if you like, within a very fast-moving SEQ region. Toondah Harbour's got the opportunities here to be the coastal development that can be a proof of concept. It's the first in a new generation, potentially, that can start to tailor land use and development to the future economy, the future leadership roles that the region's going to play in the Asia Pacific in the coming decades. Toondah Harbour is a great chance, in effect, for Redlands and SEQ to decisively shift gear towards a new paradigm, one where we might say that suburban coastal locations become part of a rich mosaic of precincts that make up a well-managed and well-distributed region, complementing Brisbane's own urban character and aspirations. The international experience tells us that this is what makes it such a decisive and timely opportunity for SEQ as it looks to rebound from the severe impacts of COVID-19, create new jobs and new centres, and re-establish its proposition to Australia and to the world. We hope you enjoy reading the report. Thank you for listening.